Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever, wherever you are. This is Coach Lee. We're working on speech anxiety in all its gross forms. And right now we're talking with Aldrin. Say howdy, Aldrin.
Howdy.
And Aldrin is from Texas.
Yeehaw.
The home of the Cowboys. No. And he's a food scientist, and he's married, and he's got a kid, 3. Let me just say about your kid in passing, 3 months. Start as soon as your child is old enough to read to them. I don't know what age that will be for your child. 1, 2, 3, I don't know. But start reading to them yourself aloud at night, and do it every night. And make it a game, and be an actor, be like you're on the stage, and be very emotional about what you read. And read things, of course, that will interest his age group. I have documents that might be helpful, but you can also on the internet say what's good for a 3-year-old to read to them. And so you end up saying tiger, and you make them say tiger, and then you show them the word, and they say, what's that? And they say tiger, and you gradually teach them to read. Meanwhile, all parents should slow down their speech and think pronunciation and use more stops. Now, this will help your speech in terms of stuttering, but it will help it generally, and it will help your children. So this is a wonderful thing to do with children, and you will bond with them. I coach kids from age 3 to age 88, or from age 4 to age 88. So this reading aloud is very, very important, and it's helpful to you. Do you know, Aldrin, that before there was computers and videos and movies and even vaudeville, that when people entertained themselves at home, they read aloud to each other. They read great books to one another, so forth. And they were entertainers. And reading aloud was a big thing. They spoke better, they read better, they wrote better. It's all very helpful. So stuttering has led you into a lifestyle, if you'll let it, that will improve your life a great deal. And you can say, well, eventually stuttering was a blessing in my life. So now, getting to your speech specifically, you indicated you started stuttering at age 7 with blocks and long silences to 60% in 20% of your conversation. So am I correct in assuming that roughly 80% of your conversations are not viewed, you're not viewed as a stutterer?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's wonderful news, because there are 2 things. What are the 2 things I say in the book? Which book have you read?
Oh, I've read your first book, Stuttering and Self-Anxiety Cures.
Okay.
Edition.
That's way out of date. It's way out of date.
Well, I've read your short course as well.
Oh, you read this. Did you review it? Did you review this on Amazon?
Yes, I read the e-copy of it on my iPad.
Did you post a review of this book on Amazon?
I don't think so.
Well, why didn't you? Because you need to be punished. Because
I'll do that.
Reviews bring people to us. And if I can't help them, somebody else will, hopefully. And so please post a review of that. And this is my best book, which is it's a tome.
That's the one I read.
No,
yeah.
You didn't read this. This was written in 20.
That's How to Stop Stuttering
and Love Speaking. This is my best book, 700 pages. It's a monster, but it's it's my best book on this subject. But I don't know that you need it, but I would really appreciate it if you would post reviews on this and on that How to Stop Stuttering book, because it helps other people. So having said that, I'm going to put it aside, but if you'll do that and send me an email when you've done it, I would appreciate it. And I will give you a star, and who knows, I may send you a box of chocolates, or I don't know. you know.
All right. I'll do that for sure. Yeah.
So, okay, so getting back to when you, so basically, you would be classified as, in terms of severity and tenure, the tenure is pretty long, but the severity is very mild. So, because of the frequency, is not extensive. So,
Well, but the well,
what are the two things I
totally.
said in the book that you must do or not do that are required to beat stuttering? What are there two things? What were they? Do you remember?
Well, I think there are like four things. You need to think a word, fear a word, think a word, force a word. No, think, fear, hesitate, and force a word. Right?
That's right. It's hesitate,
Hesitate,
think, fear, force.
force. Right.
Hesitate.
I got the order wrong.
That's okay. But the two things you got to do is you've got to hear fluency from your lips.
Oh
And
yes.
you can't hear
Distance.
disfluency from your lips. Now, you already hear fluency from your lips 80% of the time. So you're way, way down the road. Most of the people I coach, it's not 50% even. So you got a much easier situation. You're hearing fluency all the time. Now, every time you're fluent, you're using crutch 13. What is crutch 13?
No crutch at all.
Exactly. And so that's being fluent is like breathing. It requires no more thought
Right.
to be fluent than it does to breathe. And when you think about it or fear it for any reason, you're creating barriers. You yourself are building barriers and to block yourself from speech. And so, but in terms of with most people, when you still reading aloud would be very helpful to you because, or any stutterer, because it will help you learn to be expressive when you read and therefore when you speak.
Right.
Because if you will think only about how can I say every word I say with more feeling, with more conviction, with in a more compelling and interesting way. How can I do that? If I think that as I speak right now, I'll do it. And when I think how to be expressive, I block the stutter habit. So, in the 20% of the time that you have a problem, before you get to that problem, as you come into it, you think, I love to speak in this situation, whatever it happens to be, to the
Right.
authority, to a group, to a waiter in a restaurant, on a phone, whatever it is. You say, I love to speak in this situation.
Right.
And I will think about how I can do it with more feeling. I want you to be, when I was a kid, I was a singer, and I had a singing coach at one point, and he said, love it, if you want to be any good, you got to be an extreme example of yourself. So you got to be over the top. If you're not willing to be over the top, you'll never really be noticeable. It won't be different.
Right.
And with your speech, to beat stuttering, you need to be a bit over the top. Really, as I'm doing right now, I'm being over the top now. You say, I don't want to talk like that. Guy looks like a clown. No, I don't. And I'm more interesting than someone who just talks in a monotone and doesn't have much to say and just kind of a robot kind of person. This is a boring person. When I speak, that's not true.
Right.
So you got to be willing to be over the top.
Yeah.
You got to reach. You
I
want
do
to.
that. I do that whenever I'm like meeting someone for the first time or I'm just about to greet them. It'd be like, hey, it's great seeing you again. I try to be over the top. So,
Exactly.
so that sets the tone for me for the rest of the conversation.
Good. So now I'm focused. The way you overcome problems in the 20%, the situations that comprise roughly 20% of your speaking is to go more and more and more into those pressure situations. The more you lift weights and go to your maximum level within reason and gradually increase it, the stronger you get. And when you go to sit, if your problem is with the phone, you need to spend time on the phone. If it's with strangers, you need to talk to strangers. If it's with authorities, same thing there. If it's to groups, as is mostly the case with most stutterers, you need to talk more to groups. You need to come to SAM meetings on Saturdays and raise your hand and say something. You need to join
I always
Toast.
do.
But
I was saying that I always try to ask a question during our SAM meetings.
good. And that's very important. And the more you do it, every time you do it without humiliating yourself by stuttering abysmally, every time you do that, you decrease speech pressures in that situation, in future situations. You keep driving it down until I can honestly say I love to talk under pressure. I do my best work under pressure. It's kind of like saying, well, hey, in tennis, the tennis player, the professional tennis player, he doesn't play as hard in practice as he does in a game. I'm the same way. I don't speak as well now as I do. You give me a big crowd and a microphone, give me the mic. Let me introduce myself and you and anyone else around. We'll have some fun.
Right. In fact, Coach Lee, lately I've been using a lot of self-hypnosis treatments in the
Good.
night. In the night, I fall asleep to Dean Lovett's self-hypnosis audio on the app. I use that every night, and followed by 10 affirmations that I made for myself. They aren't exactly the ones that you made, except for the first and the last one. The first one being every day and in every way, my speech grows better and better by Emile Coué. And the last one being today I will make a happy day. So these
Okay.
two are the
Send
10.
me your affirmations by email and
Okay.
I will make some comments.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's all good news. And are you doing mind training before you get in bed and when you get up? Are you doing that?
Right.
Or
So
when you get, you're doing them at night. So
right. So the last 2 weeks or so, I have mainly been doing self hypnosis treatments at night. I plug my AirPods in, and I sort of fall asleep halfway through Dean Lovett's audio clip. Halfway through, I fall asleep. You know, when I've reached the part where he asks us to imagine us being in a room and lift a heavy object, stuff like that, a room where I feel safe, etc. That's the part I always fall asleep to. And
okay.
then the
Uh,
affirmations play after that, but I'm asleep. And then the morning I replay them after I wake up.
okay. All right. Uh,
What?
Reading aloud. What are you doing there?
Yeah, so at night I try to read aloud. Like last night I did. I read 2 pages from Vivek Ramaswamy's book, and but it's not nearly as long as I think it should be, because I know that Pratusha and you encourage us to read for at least an hour or 30 minutes, but I read for like 5 minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
Uh, so then we get to that's two parts of it, mind training and reading aloud. It's how about when is your defining a bad incident as appearing speech disabled to a stranger if one had been there? It might be your mother or your brother, but if a stranger, someone has heard you stutter, I'm not interested in them for the moment. I'm interested in what a stranger would think standing there. And so if a stranger had been standing there, when's the last time you think you appeared speech disabled in the opinion of a would-be stranger or one that was there, or if
All
they
right.
had been there, would have thought that? that you were speech
Got it.
disabled.
Got it. So, although I think that I have stuttered and sort of appeared speech disabled after that through forcing of my words, but the last memory that comes to mind where it was very clear, that was about 2 years ago when I was doing my job interviews on Zoom, and I was really struggling to bring my words out. And in the end, when she asked me some questions, I was honest about my speech anxiety, and I was like, sometimes I suffer from
Don't
speech
ever do
anxiety
that
issues.
again.
What's that?
Don't ever talk about your speech to a
I
stranger.
know, I know, I know. So I read your book after that. I read
Okay.
your book after that. So this was pre Lee Lovett. All right.
Okay.
So, and then she told me, so this was a group that I was speaking to, and she told me, yeah, I think it was obvious we could tell that you were having some speech issues there. So
Okay.
that was the last time I recall. And maybe a few months ago, I talked to my boss about it after I got off a high pressure call with our senior vice president, and my boss was on the call as well. And I just asked him for his honest feedback. And he was like, no, you were fluent for the most part, except that sometimes, yeah, you did stumble through some words, but
But
nothing too bad.
does that. Everybody does that. Almost everybody does that. You can't, anything that's short of humiliating you needs to be forgotten. Does that mean that you can't improve your speech? Of course not. You can get better and better and better. When you're the best you can be, you will be the best speaker you know in all likelihood. But all you don't have to be like me or anybody else. You just have to be the best you can be, and you're going to be probably the best speaker you know personally. You go from stuttering a bit to not stuttering, way down the road here to the best speaker in your group. At work, at school, at church, at wherever you go, you're down here. You're not even here, or much less back here, stuttering. So,
And in fact, so Coach Lee, if I may also add, the videos I sent you on WhatsApp, I sent you two videos on WhatsApp. I don't think I can send you on email because they're large files.
oh
I sent it to you on WhatsApp because I sent it to Pratusha a few weeks ago. So it was easier for me to just forward it within WhatsApp itself.
yeah,
And
listen,
those are video recordings of me in high pressure situations. So that will give you a clear idea of what I sound like and when I'm in a high stress
well, what
situation.
what could you take? Are you capable of taking a minute out of that thing and sending it and attaching it? Take a minute out of that video that's bad, where you think it's bad, and just send me that minute. Can you do that?
I can try, yeah, but I still think that the file would be too large for Gmail because I tried doing that with Pratusha and it just wouldn't go through. That's why I had to send it on
Really?
WhatsApp. Yeah,
I mean, just a minute.
I'll try again. I think it was asking me to upload it on Google Drive and go through that route, which is just a few extra steps. It was just a lot easier on WhatsApp. So,
Well, describe your speech to me. The
okay,
one you're
I can.
having a problem. Describe it.
Okay. All right. So a few weeks ago, when I was on this high pressure call with our sales and R&D team, so we just have to give a review of our projects and stuff. So this is what I sounded like, and I also took a video of myself, as I said earlier, and that gave me some real feedback on what I looked like. And when I went home, actually, and I showed my wife that, my wife looked at me, looked at the video, and said, "I've never seen you looking so stressed before." So when I'm speaking, it's like I can remember one word, optimization. And when I was trying to say broccoli cheddar optimization, this is what I sounded like. Broccoli cheddar optimization. I made these facial
Okay,
expressions.
okay, and I mean, if you did it once, nobody notices and nobody cares. If you did it once a minute, um, probably nobody notices and nobody cares. If you do it 3 or 4 or 5 words in a row, or every third or fifth or seventh word for several minutes or something, they're going to notice. And so the question is, um, like your boss said, I mean, he wasn't up, he didn't come down on you like a hammer or anything. He just said, you know, you sounded a bit rough there in some spots. I mean, that's basically what he said, right?
Right. And I went to him for feedback. It's not like he came
Yeah,
and told me.
I understand. And so the good news is you're not with a lot of people I coach, they would be very glad to be where you are. But they stuttered, you know, most words in most conversations all their lives, and they thought about their speech 55 minutes out of every hour every day. They never thought about anything else. I used to
That
do
was
that.
me. That was me, by the way, a few
God.
years ago.
And so when did you stop doing that?
I don't know, Coach Lee. I mean, I feel like sometimes I still do it, honestly. I still find myself
Well,
thinking about,
you're accepting stuff. You're not dictating your thoughts. You know,
well, in fact, I do. I do use my affirmations lately. It's only been like maybe 2 or 3 months where I've been actively hitting my, uh, actively attacking, I should say, attacking my negative thoughts with positive affirmations. I use this affirmation that goes like, all speech fears trigger a sense of calmness in me and remind me to elongate my words and use my speech plan. And
oh,
that really helps me.
that's a long affirmation, but I
It
hear
is.
you.
It is.
It's good. But it's very long. I prefer really short things that I can remember, say quickly. But um, okay, so I guess it's all a function of being a really good speech cop, and it's also the our program is one that doesn't quit when we stop appearing to be speech disabled, as you really have done. But it stops when we love to speak everywhere, and that's third base we call it, and that's second base is not thinking words. When um, you have your own style, as do most stutterers, of forcing a word, don't you? You have your
Yeah.
own style. You roll your eyes and you pop your mouth, and you do a couple of you grimace.
Grimaces. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the thing we can't have you doing is that. What we can have you doing is thinking about our solutions. Now, the last time when you had your incident at work with the word optimization and others. How long ago was that?
Well, that was like maybe a month and a half ago. But after that, I've had several of those same calls in which I've been fluent, and my boss has again given me feedback that I was great on the call. So this is
Okay,
just something that happened like about 2 months ago. I've had several great incidents, great experiences on that same call with the same people.
and you've been using the app. You've read my book. You've been trying to do our program, and you've obviously been succeeding, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so.
So I mean, look, part of beating it is being willing to admit your progress.
Yep.
And that is, first base, we call it, as you may know, is stopping appearing speech disabled. Now, you stopped appearing speech disabled from what you've told me a very long time ago. And so you have some uncomfortable, choppy speech with an occasional grimace, but none of which in the aggregate is sufficient to make you appear speech disabled. You are therefore standing on first base. Are you done? No, you're not done. What's second base? Look, part of beating it, you're in a strange place. You're in a very good place, in my opinion, but it's unusual. Um, Part of beating it is is learning not to grade yourself harshly. We're all virtually identical genetically, and pretty much anything I can do, you can do more or less. And pretty much anything you can do, I can do more or less. I mean, we're basically alike. And you don't have, and that includes speaking. You have no reason to feel inferior about yourself, and your past history of speech is what just that, it's past. It's not germane anymore. And but is your speech perfect? No, and it never will be. Can it be a lot better? Sure. You can get as good as you want it to be, truthfully, but you cannot grade yourself when you make mistakes, like in this conversations you're having at work. Basically, forgive yourself and forget it. Does that mean you can't improve? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means I'm fine. My boss thinks I'm fine. I'm going to stop asking him about it, and I'm just going to keep going for it and keep improving, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on crutch 11, speaking like a king. I will speak slowly. I will use extreme pronunciation. I will be passionate in a positive way. Positive emotions only. Negative emotions get us in trouble. We can't do them. We got to clean them up and make them positive, or shut them up, or rip them out. We cannot do them. So they always take us backwards. So it's positive emotion. So you're going to slow your speech. You will use extreme pronunciation. You will be expressive, passionate in a positive way about what you say. And you will smile while you do it. And you will stop. The greater the pressure, the less words you say in every increment of speech. You can say as few as one word at a time. It's fine. There is no bad place to stop talking.
Right.
I can stop anywhere. It's fine.
Yeah, in fact, that's been my main speech plan. Short link stop has been my speech plan.
And that what I'm really talking about is crutch 11, speaking
Speak
like
like a
a
king.
king, because I think you're ready to move into that category. You're ready to change. I mean, if you're under pressure, no, think short length stop. That's fine. But when you're not under pressure, you should be working on speaking like a king. Slow down your speech. Think pronunciation when you speak. Right now, when you talk to me, slow down, think pronunciation. And how expressive can you be? And smile at me. It doesn't hurt. And it will push stuttering away, far away from you. Smile, man. Even if you're on the phone, they can't see you. That's okay. You're still happy.
Right.
When you smile, you make yourself happy first.
Right.
Everybody else secondly. No, you smile and then you stop. 1001 is the minimum length of a stop. Sometimes you stop 2 seconds. 1001, 1002. Sometimes even 3 seconds. And then you continue. This makes your speech more interesting. When I stop talking, I bring the audience to me.
True. True.
You wish to be effective on the phone, in conference calls? Slow down. Use stops. Pronounce clearly. Be passionate. Smile.
Yeah. I
It's
have been I have been slowing down and using pauses when I speak in church, and I see the difference. Because when I speak in church, I only have a 6 to 7 minute window. So in the past, I used to try to speak fast because I only have 7 minutes. But now, what I've been doing is that I've shortened my message and I prolong my stops.
it's not just your message that needs to be shortened. It's every increment of your speech. The greater the pressure, the less words you say at any time.
Right. And if I'm being honest with you, Lee, about a few months ago, I reached out to the guy in our church who schedules us for doing this or that, and I asked him to remove me from Bible reading. Like, there's a time when someone goes up there and just reads, and I had asked him to, like, I did do that for a while. I did have some blocks that were choppy, and just blocks on certain syllables and certain words, and going off of your principles of not developing stutter memories, I avoided those situations, and it's been like maybe 6 months now where I asked him to remove me from reading only. I do everything else. I do the Lord's Supper, I do the stewardship, because then I have control over my words and what I'm saying. But when I'm reading, I have to read specific words, and I'm always afraid of blocking, and that's why I'd asked him to
But
take me off.
we've got to overcome that too, though, don't we? Yes, we need to overcome that too. So I think if there's a middle ground, you can read aloud, do some reading aloud, just don't do as much of it. Say, instead of once a week, put me in once a month or something, or let me pick a shorter reading or something.
Okay.
But I think you need reading aloud is something that you should enjoy doing. And when you think about it's one of the reasons why I frequently ask my students to read to me and I read to them, and why I at SAM meetings sometimes read to the group, because I want them to hear when the important thing is not words, it's the thoughts that the words mean.
Right.
And that's what you got to think about. Now, I'm going to open up something. I'm going to open up a poem, which is also a song. That
Is it
was,
Annabelle Lee? Is it Annabelle Lee?
oh, that's very long. Do you like that one?
I do. I do.
I do too. This is shorter. It's called "Empty Chairs,"
Hmm.
and it's a song written by a wonderful singer who's now in his early 80s. Something that he wrote when he was probably your age, and it's a wonderful song. Now, read this to me.
Okay. Give me a second. I took a screenshot of it so that I can have it.
Where it says repeat chorus, just skip that.
Okay. Empty Chairs by Don McLean. I feel the trembling tingle of a sleepless night creep through my fingers, and the moon is bright. Beams of beams of blue come flickering through my window pane, like gypsy moths that dance around a candle flame. And I wonder if you know that I never understood that although you said you'd go, I never thought you would. Moonlight used to bathe the contours of your face, while chestnut hair fell all around the pillowcase, and the fragrance of your flowers rests beneath my head. A sympathy bouquet left with a love that's dead. Never thought the words you said were true. Never thought you said just what you meant. Never knew how much I needed you. Never thought you'd leave until you went. Morning comes and morning goes with no regret. The evening brings the memories I can't forget. Empty rooms that echo as I climb the stairs. Empty clothes that drape and fall on empty chairs. And I wonder if you know that I never understood that although you said you'd go, I never thought you would.
Very well done. And from the standpoint of fluency, you get a perfect score. and it's unfair to grade you on reading it really because you've never seen it before. It's not fair, but you nonetheless did a good job. I'll read it. Of course, I'm familiar with it, so I have a huge advantage. But again, it's all about feeling. So it goes like this. Empty Chairs by Don McLean. I feel the trembling tingle of a sleepless night creep through my fingers, and the moon is bright. Beams of blue come flickering through my window pane like gypsy moths that dance around a candle flame. And I wonder if you know that I never understood that although you said you'd go, I never thought you would. Moonlight used to bathe the contours of your face, while chestnut hair fell all around your pillowcase. And the fragrance of your flowers rest beneath my head, a sympathy bouquet left with a love that's dead. I never thought the words you said were true. Never thought you said just what you meant. Never knew how much I needed you. Never thought you'd leave until you went. Morning comes and morning goes with no regret. The evening brings the memories I can't forget. Empty rooms that echo as I climb the stairs. Empty clothes that drape and fall on empty chairs. And I wonder if you know, I never understood that although you said you'd go, I never thought you would.
I'm in tears, Lee.
What do you think?
I said I'm in tears.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, yeah.
But now what is it? What are we really proving here? We're proving that the words are not the point. It's what the words mean. And when you say the words, all the words, you need to think about what they mean. Not the words. It's their meaning. You are a vehicle. You are a conduit to express feelings, emotions. By putting your heart into what you say. When you do that, you'll never stutter in your life. I read it much slower than you did, didn't I?
I think so, yeah.
You talk too fast. You say, well, all my friends talk 10 times faster. I'm sure they do. That doesn't make them right. You want to improve your speech. You've got to slow down, man. You've got to think about the meaning of what you're saying. Are you familiar with the quotation at the beginning of my books from Dr. Caprio?
Yes, we have free thoughts to accept or reject thoughts. No, we have free will to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. So use your mental switch, dictate your thoughts, believe that you can improve, and you will. That one, right?
Yes, and you did it well, except what was your mistake?
I think I missed a line or two.
Well, your mistake was You read it too fast.
Oh,
You said it too fast. We have free choice. Say that.
we have free choice
To accept or reject thoughts.
to accept or reject thoughts.
Nothing compels us to think anything
Nothing compels us to think anything
except our own desires.
except our own desires.
So use your mental switch
So use your mental switch
and dictate your thoughts.
and dictate your thoughts.
Believe that you can improve,
Believe that you can improve,
and you will.
and you will.
Do you believe that?
I do believe that.
It's absolutely important that you do. This is where you separate yourself from the old Aldrin with speech issues.
Right.
You're not going back there ever. You'll make mistakes, you'll be imperfect, you're human, but your speech will continue to get better if you work on it. If your goal is to make it better.
Right.
If you will slow down. If you will think meaning. What do my words mean? That's the question.
Right.
Did I convey the meaning or not?
Right.
You can't do it in a monotone without any expression and just spitting out words. And it's not the same thing as you talk like this. That's when you talk like you mean it. There's a difference, isn't there?
Yep, there is.
Your job is to get your brain thinking about the meaning of everything you say all the time. Slow it down, pronounce it, enjoy it. When you read aloud in church, are you reading the Bible? Is that what you're reading?
Yes, yes,
Is it the Christian Bible? Just curious.
yes, yes.
Okay. All right.
But like I said, I don't read. I don't just do the reading anymore. I mainly preach. So I talk out of my own. I do read a verse or two every now and then, if I'm
Okay.
preaching from that verse. But I don't read a whole section. Because
Okay.
usually the reader reads a whole section, like a whole
I
chapter.
see. Okay. All right. Okay.
And I also find myself, Lee, avoiding certain New Testament books just because they begin with the word G or C, like
Come on.
Galatians or
Stop it. Will you stop?
Colossians.
That's nonsense. Look, I used to have troubles with L's, R's, and W. Lee Lovett, L's and R's, Richard Richardson, W's, William Williamson. It's all a joke. They're all the same. Now, what did you say your letters were? What did you say they were?
C, like the K sound, like Colossians, the book. So C, Colossians, and G, Galatians. As you noticed, I had a 1 second block over there trying to say Galatians. But now I can say Galatians because I said it 2 seconds ago.
Look, that you don't have to do it that way.
And I try to use crutch one, but sometimes I find myself having difficulty even using crutch one. It's like I go out of breath. So instead of saying Galatians, I go like it's like I run out of breath, and then I cannot even drop the G and say
You can't
Galatians.
look. The whole thing, Aldrin, you've got to say what you're not thinking and fear it. It's hesitate, think a word, fear it, and force it. You got to think a word or sound or anything you're trying to do. Galatians, alations, whatever it is. If you focus on it, you're going to have a problem with it. But you can always say anything else. Now, crutch 4 and 8 are the two easiest ways to handle those. There, a lot of them work. Dropping the first letter works and so forth. But 4 and 8 are easy. So Four says two things. It says you can say any other word. And so, for example, if I want to say Galatians or whatever, I say, and I'll say it loud, but I don't have to. And Galatians, say that.
And Galatians.
As long as I connect the D and to the G in Galatians, I'll never block. And Galatians, now say it this way. So Galatians, connect the O to the G. So Galatians.
So Galatians.
Well, Galatians.
Well, Galatians.
Now, I can lower the volume on it too. So I can go and Galatians, do that.
Galatians.
I did and I did it like that. And Galatians.
And Galatians.
Well, Galatians.
Well, Galatians.
So Galatians.
So Galatians.
Now the principle is simple. The minute you say and, well, or so, or any other word, you could say pizza, it wouldn't matter. You break the block on the G in Galatians every time. It's broken. And it will stay broken long enough for you to say it if you connect the two. So every time you insert a word, well, so, and are filler words. You could say like too. I don't like that one, but you can say it. And or anything else you want. Any other word. You can even say part of the word if you wanted to. I could say Galatians. I could say Galatians. When I can say gal softly. And then
what did you say again?
G-A-L, gal. I said.
Oh, just gal Galatians. Okay. All right.
I said Galatians. Galatians. Say that.
Gal Galatians. Gal Galatians. Yeah. I do realize that it's just a mental thing.
Look, we know that. We know that. We know that. You're practicing techniques right now. That's what we're doing. So inserting words, that's one way. We can do that with Colossians too. Well, Galatians, sometimes you have to swallow the first letter a little bit, but so what? Well, Galatians.
Well, Colossians.
So Galatians.
So Colossians.
No. So Galatians, you got to hum through it. You got to connect them. So Galatians.
So Colossians.
No. So Galatians.
So Colossians.
Yeah.
Colossians.
Well, Galatians.
Well, Colossians.
Galatians.
Colossians.
No. I have to swallow the C a little bit. Galatians.
Colossians.
No, you cannot break between and co. Galatians.
Colossians.
There you go. Feel it?
Yeah.
As long as there's no break, you can say.
So that was basically crutch 4 and crutch 1, right? Because I did.
Yeah, it's crutch. Well, no, it's actually crutch 4. It insert a sound or a word. I mean, we're
so
using
I said
sound
it's
now.
crutch 4. It's crutch 4 and crutch 1, right?
Well, crutch 1 says drop the first letter or syllable. So on Colossians, we swallowed the C a little bit. I don't think of it as dropping it. I think of it as swallowing it, kind of muffling it. But it's okay. You think of it however you like. We inserted a word, well, so, and, or we inserted a sound. Galatians, say that.
Well, Galatians.
No, Galatians.
Colossians.
There you go. You feel it?
Colossians.
Oh, you broke it.
Okay. Colossians.
There you go.
Colossians.
And then make softer, and then come with it.
Colossians.
There you go.
Colossians. Okay. All right.
That's 4. Now 8 is even easier because it says come out of your voice range. The thing about stuttering is the stutter guy expects us to stay in our regular voice range, whatever it is. And when we come out of it, high or low, he's not there. So we can say after me, welcome.
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 Hello.
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 Goodbye.
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 Aldrin.
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 Coach Lee. Coach
Coach
Lee.
Lee. Coach Lee.
Coach Lee.
Coach Lee.
That's up and down. Now, Galatians.
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 Colossians.
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 Now, how far you come out can be a lot, a little bit, whatever. It's up to you. And you can make the volume louder or softer, you know? So that's crutch 8. Don't tell me that you avoid C's and G's again. Don't tell me that. That's nonsense. That's a cop-out. Nonsense. You don't avoid anything. There's nothing you can't say. Nothing.
But that's also a crutch, right? Isn't that crutch 3? Substituting words or avoiding?
Well, crutch 3, let's see, skip a word or spell it.
Right.
Crutch
So
3.
I choose to skip it.
Ha! Well, that doesn't work if you're reading Galatians and you got to start with Galatians or Colossians. You can't skip it. Or if somebody says, "What's your name?" You can't skip Aldrin. It's your name. So
Right.
that's a good crutch, but it's not good in all situations. And crutch 4 we just did, insert a sound or another word. Any sound and any word will break the block. Will break it, but you
Right.
got to connect the word or the sound to the block.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so that's why you must hold your tone. It's like singing. So,
Right. In fact, I successfully used crutch 4 in one of those high pressure calls when Pratusha recommended me using and using the word chili. You know, so I told her that I was having just speech anxiety saying the word chili because I was making chili as a food scientist, right? So I use that all the time now. I say Subway chili, and now it's like I don't even fear the word anymore, and I don't even hear myself saying I just say Subway chili, and it's so quick. So yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that example with you.
well, I think that's very good. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to pull up another file. I think Aldrin. I think you should do a stop stuttering story. We should post a stop stuttering story. You haven't had a bad incident. You haven't appeared humiliated in a long time, and you're not finished.
Yeah.
So what? But first base, you're on. You should claim it because it's if you're not willing to claim where you are every time you get the ball, you start on your 20 and you go to the midfield, and then the next time you get the ball, you say, "Well, I'm on the next first down." They put you back on the 20 because you won't admit you're on the 50. You got to be willing to move forward. You got to take things as they come, and I maintain, look, nobody is thinking of you that no person you meet now over the next month, if you meet 10 or 20 or 30 people, none of them is going to think you're a stutterer, will they?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think so. In fact, I always put myself out there.
So
I
this
always
is
go
why you need to be a stop stuttering story. Now, has Prathusha been coaching you or what?
Yes, she has been. So far, I'm done with 5 sessions, and I have 5 more to go with her.
Okay, well, I think you should write a stop stuttering story and send it to her. And that doesn't mean changes nothing else. You just do it.
How long does it need to be?
We're from this long to infinity. Most of them are a page or so. You can see
Oh,
the.
I thought it needs to be a video.
No, no, it's written text. If
Oh,
you don't want to write it, she'll write it for you, or I will. It doesn't matter. But if you want to write it, then she'll edit it, or I will. You know, there's no problem. You're her student, so that's fine. I'm just filling in here. Um, so I'm gonna put this on. Yeah. And yeah, I think you should do this. Look, you want to keep moving forward, and you don't do it by denying where you are.
right, right. I agree.
So it's important that you do
Yeah,
this.
I'll do it. I'd be happy to do it, Lee.
Okay, all right. So you get, in a way, it's kind of. I mean, what my primary interest is that people I help stop stuttering. Period.
Right,
If they don't stop stuttering, I'm not interested in doing this. You
right.
know,
I agree. I agree. And in
and
fact,
then
I also have been joining several practice sessions throughout the week from work. I somehow make time and I join these practice sessions. And sometimes I become the de facto host of the meeting because either the host did not show up and then no one wants to take the lead. And I think that has happened at least once or twice in the many meetings I've joined. And, I feel really good about helping myself and helping others as well. And if the opportunity provides itself in the future, I would also like to be more involved with WSSA.
oh,
As
we'd
a
love
coach.
to have you, man. We'd love to
Yeah,
have
yeah. As a
you.
coach, I
You're
would
the
love to do
perfect
that.
age. You're perfect age. You're a clean cut, nice looking guy. You got a lot going for you. You
Thanks.
know, yeah, Jesus, we'd love to have you.
Thanks, Lee. And not only that, Lee, I also have big biceps.
Well, you certainly do. I used to have some of that. I don't have much of it anymore. I
Oh,
used
really?
to have that. Yeah, I used to. I got a gym here. I always. So look, okay. So you're going to draft "Stop Stuttering" story and send it to Prathusha, and she'll fiddle around with it a little bit, and then she'll send it to me, and I'll fiddle around with it. But we'll let you. If we change it, we'll send it back to you for your approval. But
Okay.
otherwise, uh, you won't you like it, and then we'll post that. So you're going to do that, and you're going to do go on Amazon, and you're going to review this book.
Okay.
And I know you haven't read it, but we could use a review on this. This is much better than the book you read, believe me.
Okay.
It's 200 pages longer, and it's a much better book.
Okay.
So again, you want to help somebody, tell them to read these books, because I ain't going to be here forever, and the more reviews we get, the better it is.
Right.
We got to help a lot of people, and maybe you think you'd like to tackle the coaching program when to take the coaching program.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think so.
that would be great. I really think that would be great. Yeah, and we have a form. We just started using it this week called the Oasis form, and I'm going
Okay.
to ask you to fill that out as if the way you would have answered it before you came to us, and
Oh,
then
okay.
fill it out as of now. So you do two forms,
Got it. Got it.
and it takes a little time to do it. That's the fourth thing. But the first thing is the review, the first thing is the Stop Stuttering story, and the reviews are second, and then taking the coaching program. That Prathusha and Javier run that, and I mean this organization. We hope. I mean it's the only community in the world of ex-stutterers. Think of that. 8 billion people, one place to go to find ex-stutterers. You're there.
Right.
So I mean it's a great community. And the people that we have are wonderful helpers.
Right.
Unfortunately, so many people get so wrapped up in their careers and everything else that we lose them. But hopefully, someday WSSA is going to be in the black in a serious way and be able to offer jobs, to people like you and Prathusha. Prathusha has a good job. She has a BA and an MBA and all that stuff. But we'd love to have her working in the program, and you very well could be a great one too. So let's go forward and see what we can do. I think it's great.
For sure.
It's, it's been
For sure. Yeah, I would love to help.
it's been fun meeting you today, and I'll look
Likewise.
forward to seeing you on Sam. I'll look forward to seeing you on Sam, and I'll send you an email. You're going to send me your affirmations. I'm going to comment on them, and I'm going to send you an email, a little summary of what we did today.
Got it.
And we can, once in a while, if you want to talk for 30 minutes or something, we can do it. It's not a big deal.
I would love that. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good, Coach Lee. Thank you so much again for your time. I appreciate all the work that you do. I don't think I have to say that, but I think I should. We appreciate the work you do. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for saying it. I much appreciate it. It's great to hear it. So you have a great day, and I'll see you on Sam. And so one of these days, we're going to ask you to do a Sam talk too. That's a lot of fun too.
Yep, that would be great as well. Sounds good.
All right, man.